We're going to start work on our holistic business plan. So we are building here in this series, class by class, a deeper understanding of and attitude about ourselves. And this takes feelings. Our heart is a crucial element to doing a holistic plan. It's not just our heads. So today's class is on self-direction through the proper use of emotionally compelling, heart-centered goals. So we've learned that we choose our thoughts and direct our feelings, which is the free will principle, and that our thoughts and feelings shape our lives, the creative thought principle. And we can discover the thoughts that are running our subconscious, which is the analysis principle. And so we also have learned that we have the power to change our minds and direct our feelings to support ourselves, the affirmation principle. And this brings us to today, the goals principle, which is I can achieve the results I want. Quo vadis, Latin phrase, which will explain itself as I tell this little story. It's the story of a person who very carefully planned a journey that they wanted to take. They got their car ready in top condition, supplied themselves with all of the provisions they would ever need, food, clothing, for any kind of weather, detailed travel guides. They told their family and employer and friends that they'd be gone, and got as well rested and had plenty of money for whatever might happen on their travels. But they never arrived. They forgot the most important element for their journey. They were not clear on where they were going. Without clarity on where we're going in life, we're never sure whether we've arrived or even if we're going in the right direction. Now, our friend in the story could possibly have had a good time no matter where they decided to go. So in one sense, the journey is more important than the destination. However, in another equally important sense, it takes wanting to go someplace that calls us, is attractive to us, to get us started. Our heart, often associated more with the right brain, the intuitive functions, knows the truth of this even when our head, associated with the left brain, the rational functions, may think it's impossible, irrelevant, or too risky to go for what we really want. The truth about your heart's desire. Telling the truth about our heart's desire is the first step on the journey to holistic success in our lives. If we continue to just do what other people think is best for us, we'll never be able to fully put our heart into what we want. A half-hearted effort is a major ingredient to failure. If I don't have any emotional investment in what I'm doing, or if I've lost it, my work is passionless and becomes debilitating to my health and to those with whom I work. Now, there are challenges to effective goal setting. We do have to face some worthy challenges to setting effective goals. Most of these challenges come from the misuse of goal setting that we have experienced in our past, thereby making the ideas of goal setting less than attractive, if not negative. These misuses are, and I'm going to go through a number of them here, because we all experienced most of these in some form or another. First of all, being harshly forced to do things that others wanted and told us was for our own good. Be a star athlete like your father. Learn to be a hostess like your mother. 2, being told that what we want is bad or shameful. Oh, being an artist is indulgent, unproductive. 3, being compared unfavorably to others, held up as more successful than we are. Siblings are often pitted against one another. For example, why aren't you more like your sister or brother? Even if it's not stated out loud. Next, being disheartened when it looked like we failed at getting what we wanted, even when we tried. Well, not getting the raise we wanted or hoped for, or the grades in a class. So no wonder many folks cringe or brace themselves when it comes to goal setting. So there's a proper use of goals. The proper use of goals is to increase our joy in living and working and giving us instant as well as long-term gratification. To envision our heart's desire is immediately gratifying. Just in thinking about it and holding it dearly, it's only negative thoughts about not now or ever having it that we can cancel out our pleasure. Then working towards manifesting it becomes part of the pleasure if we can hold on to that imagination. We can hold on to the feeling of it. Research is showing that the ability to sustain positive feelings correlates with better health, productivity, and resourcefulness. So being true to the spirit of goal setting. The entire process then is part of the overall satisfaction. 1, choosing the goal. 2, holding the vision and feeling. 3, overcoming barriers along the way. And 4, relishing the success. I become more flexible in evaluating my journey and my final result if I'm able to do those steps. Even when I'm not getting the picture of success that my mind created, the pleasurable feelings which are true to my nature are allowed to come from other forms of success and perhaps unexpected surprises along the way. The spirit of the goal is what excites me about it, even though the picture of it may change en route. For example, oh, I want a boat. That's it. I see these guys driving their boat down Lake Drive in Milwaukee, where I live, and there's Lake Michigan out there, and they're sailing their boat. No, they're admired by their friends, and the breeze is blowing through their hair. They have hair. And they're just on top of the world, admired by everyone. Well, this is actually quite true. I had a friend with a boat, and we were down there every weekend scraping and taking barnacles off and, keeping the woodwork refreshed. And it was like, oh, well, it was fun part of the time, but I recognized that sense that I wanted to have of being alive and freshened by the breezes of the air and be able to share it with my friends so that they would also enjoy the excitement of it and be admired for my sailing ability. And, it's like, hey, maybe I could go to that pleasure without having to scrape barnacles off all the time. In the first year of the School of Spiritual Psychology, we came up with a prayer which went like this. We called it the Personal Integration Prayer. I now grant myself the pleasurable feelings that I imagine I'll have after going through what I think I need to in order to deserve them. So, you may have to say that a couple times to get the picture, but in other words, we deprive ourselves of feeling good because we haven't achieved some goal yet. The goal of achievement becomes the master driving us, the straw boss, getting us up in the morning. So we're not going to set goals in that vein. There's more direct routes to our good feelings than driving ourselves. The truth is that I'm both more resourceful in getting what I want and more open to favorably interpreting my results when I'm on my journey in the spirit of it, rather than fearing the worst and loathing each step along the way. I'm in charge of the way I set goals for myself. Through setting effective goals, I will highly increase the chances of my success and enjoyment as I travel the path. The secret is to fully enjoy and having confidence in the spirit of the goal and not to get attached to only one form in which it may come. Attachment is our ego getting fixated. Now, you'll have experience during this class in discriminating your heart's desire from your ego fixations. Now, there's just doing this. If that were the only thing you got out of the whole class, that is worth it. It dramatically changes the quality of your life. You don't get so driven that you can't see, oh, there are even better things being offered to me. But no, I've got to get that barnacle-laden boat, or whatever it is. So We will embrace letting go and letting God shape the package in which it's delivered. Now, some would argue that goals set up one for disappointment right off the bat. Well, why have goals? Because they have a good chance of not happening, and then you're going to feel bad. It's going to bring about some sort of pain. So maybe goals are just bad in themselves. They're often citing puritanical or even Eastern philosophies that make wanting or desire as the cause of all suffering. I believe this is inaccurate. It's the inflexible attachment to and identification with the pictures of our mind that creates suffering. Who would deny the joy of a child in reaching out for a rattle and just enjoying it? They want that rattle and they get it and they shake it. It's only if I can't put the rattle down, I get attached to it. And I'm still carrying it around when I'm 21, that will create problems. Now, properly embraced, the spirit of the goal keeps me on the path to more and more refined goals. I may even circle back to using the rattle again in my spiritual evolution as a shaman, which you'll get with Tamarack and Letty in the last class. So, alignment with my inner source of wisdom. Empowerment comes from the certitude that I'm co-creating my life in alignment with my deepest values, with my inner source, my purpose. That's why we started off today, not with thinking of things that we want and our goals, but what's our purpose? It is the longer lasting reward of goal setting, not the things I acquire or accomplishments I achieve. Human life satisfaction does not necessarily correlate with what we do or have. Social scientists have coined the term hedonic treadmill. What does that mean? Hedonic treadmill. Well, they've done research on things that in our common culture, everyone would say, oh, that's good. I want that, like winning the lottery. Or things that most people would say, ugh, horrible. Hope that would never happen to me, like becoming a paraplegic. Well, they've done studies then with what happens with people who've had either of these things happen to them in their life as they go on. And what they've found is that after 2 years, people who had won the lottery come back to feeling about as satisfied with their life as they were before they won the lottery. People who had a lifelong disability also learned how to come back to a general sense of life satisfaction that they had before. Now, this doesn't mean we're condemned to always being on that treadmill of the same. No, we can change the overall sense of daily well-being and pleasure in our life. What changes is the general state, the higher level of engagement and participation in living my purpose through alignment with my inner source. However you define source, being God, divine love, the universe, nothing, the void, this becomes more normal in your consciousness after many years of practice. This is not infantile thinking, but alignment with your source. Achieving goals that are out of alignment with my creative source can lead to disillusionment and depression. The rejoinder that is often heard from people who have devoted themselves to and achieved material success without a sense of higher purpose is that all there is? And even this discouragement, however, can prompt me to wake up and find out and live my purpose, my true heart's desire. So it's up to me how long I want to take to do this. There was a movie some years ago, I'm dating myself here, which was called Groundhog Day, starring Bill Murray. And I considered it one of the most spiritual movies that I knew of, because here was a reporter who went out to Pennsylvania, where they have the infamous groundhog appearing in it. Anyhow, he's a reporter doing his job, and he becomes enamored with a woman there. I think she could have been a fellow reporter or something. And he just wanted to make a good impression. He wanted to be able to win her over. And everything he tried, bonk, fell flat. He tried to impress her with this. But what would happen is he would try this, and he would go to sleep that night feeling like, oh, I blew it. I didn't. He'd wake up the next morning and it was the same day. And he was living the same day over and over again. And so, well, okay, now he got to try something different in winning over this woman that he admired and loved. And that fell short. And then he would try all of these techniques to lure her into liking him. And it wouldn't work until he finally woke up one day and he let go of all of the techniques and he just was himself. And he, in a sense, accepted this is who I am. I don't have to pretend I'm something different to impress. And well, as we know from all the stories, that's what really impressed his girlfriend. And then they woke up the next day and went on with their life. So it's like our life is like that. We keep getting to do the same thing over and over until we get it right. Until love is what takes over, rather than all of our ideas about what we have to do to be successful. So being here with you right now today was one of my lifelong goals because it was in alignment with both my work and my personal path. That's what gives me the juice to love being here and sharing the things that have really helped me live in joy. I mean, listen, it's not 24/7. I don't go around beaming all the time. That would get tiring after a while, really. I have my ups and downs like everyone else, but it's that inner sense which puts all the pieces together for me. So, anyone else have examples of that, of how they have come to a place of feeling more joy in life or life fulfillment with living their purpose?
In my younger years, like 20s, I felt so lost and without purpose. And it was really challenging to make the big decisions about like what kind of work to do and where to live and who to date and then move on into deeper relationship with and all those things. And I remember one conversation I had one time with my mom and my older sister, who's like my bestie. And I think it was maybe my sister who was like, "What's your purpose?" And I just let whatever come out, come out. And it was to heal and to help others heal.
Mhm.
And so for me, that's like the most simplistic words I can put around. But this has been like a guiding light for me through everything. So then I get to do an exercise like today, and I really embellished on my purpose and let it expand. But ultimately, I feel like it always comes back to heal and to help others heal, whether that's for me personally, my relationships, my lineage ancestrally, but also being a part of healing the collective and the earth. And so it has been helpful 100% to even have that one simple statement as a guiding light.
Beautiful. Thank you, Julie. I picked on Julie not just because she's an assistant for today, but I've known Julie when she was, was about 19 years old.
Yeah, early 20s. Now I'm in my mid 40s. So
Just come from
good number of
driving a bus
years.
in Chicago and saying, "Oh, I wish I were married. I wish I had children. I would really like to find someone." And she has done it all. As a beautiful husband, a beautiful family, two kids, graduated from our School of Integrative Psychology, become a professional breath worker, but went off and did a bunch of other things, learned a lot of other things, yoga teaching, and I'm so fortunate to have her come back now and continue doing the work teaching here in the School of Breathwork, set up her own practice. So that's really a joy in my life to see others blossom. And I know that everyone here is also an inspiration for other people in their lives. You may not be willing to see it or admit it right now, but we are a group of teachers. And we're here now just supporting ourselves to get over it and accept it. Okay.